Hey, it's Sean Tice with some practical advice for life. Today I want to talk to you just for a few minutes about the topic of forgiveness. Forgiveness. Sometimes it's a hard topic to deal with, but it's something we need to address, and all of us have to address it. Who do you need to forgive? And we're going to talk about that today, or who do you need to ask forgiveness from? Who's hurt you in your life? Maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a coworker, maybe a classmate, maybe a neighbor, somebody has hurt you. Who is it? We've all been hurt, and it's hard to be hurt. Who's hurt you? My next question is, who have you hurt? Who have you hurt? Think about it. Who have you hurt in your life? And I'm not trying to bring up pain for you and on who you've hurt or who has hurt you, but I want you to think about it, because sometimes we need to address this issue of forgiveness in our lives when these things are going on. Today I want to give you 3 steps to a life of true forgiveness. 3 steps. 3 steps, 3 simple steps to a life of true forgiveness. 3 simple things that you have to do in order to live a life of true forgiveness. Number one is avoid forgiveness. Avoid forgiveness. You're like, Sean, you just told me that I need to forgive people and I need to ask for forgiveness. Now you're telling me to avoid it. Okay? What I'm trying to say here is love people. Love people. Avoid forgiveness. Don't do things where you have to ask for forgiveness. Don't partake in things where you have to ask for forgiveness. Okay? Just love people. You can avoid the topic of asking for forgiveness if you're just nice to people, if you're loving to people, if you're nice, kind to people, kind to your classmates, kind to your family members, kind to your co-workers. Avoid forgiveness. Avoid forgiveness. Number 1, in the 3 simple steps to a life of true forgiveness. Number 2, if you do something to somebody, seek forgiveness. Seek forgiveness. How have you hurt someone? Have you hurt anybody? Is there anybody in your life that you need to ask for forgiveness from? Only you know, and the person you hurt know. Who is it? If you've hurt somebody, seek forgiveness. And number 3, in the 3 simple steps to a life of true forgiveness, number 3, give forgiveness. Give forgiveness. Don't be a bitter person. Don't walk around with that bitterness that's on you. Bitterness will ruin your life. I knew of a family once, and they just struggled with bitterness. And it ate their family. And it just ruined so many relationships, so many things for them. And I'm telling you, don't let that happen to you. Be a person that just gives forgiveness freely. Give it out. Say, I forgive you for what you just did to me. And I know sometimes there's so many things that could happen where it's just, man, I can't forgive that person for what they did. Somebody really wronged you. Somebody really did something wrong to you. Somebody really hurt you. Somebody said something nasty to you. Somebody did a physical hurt to you. Forgive them. Forgive them. You won't forget it necessarily, but forgive them. Don't harbor bitterness in your life. It will eat at you, and it will ruin your life. It will ruin you more than it will ruin that person that hurt you. Forgive them. I want to give you a verse, two verses today, Ephesians 4:31 and 32. I'm going to read these to you. It says here, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. That has to do with that first step that I told you about. Avoid forgiveness. If you let bitterness out of your life, you let wrath out of your life, anger out of your life, clamor out of your life, evil speaking out of your life, gossiping, talking about people. If you let these things out of your life, you put them away from you, you can avoid having to ask for forgiveness. Number 2 is to seek forgiveness and be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. Seek forgiveness. Give forgiveness. If you hurt somebody, ask them to forgive you. If somebody hurts you, forgive them. Tell them you forgive them. Or just forgive them if you never see them again. Forgive them. Say, I forgive them. I forgive that person for what they did to me. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. In verse 32, and be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. God forgave you through Christ. If you're a Christian, God has forgiven you through Christ. Has forgiven you for all the things you've done in your life. It's washed in the blood if you've asked God to forgive you. He's forgiven you. So much more. How can we, if God forgives us, how can we not forgive others? I grew up fatherless. My dad left when I was about 10 months old. Left our family, left our small town in Pennsylvania, and moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, his hometown. Never returned again. And growing up, that hurt. It hurt to know that he left us. It hurt to know that he had physically abused my mom over the years of their marriage. That he did hurt to them, and he tried to hurt me and my sister and my brother. He tried to do things to us. He hurt our family. Then he moved away. And that hurt. I was fatherless growing up. And I had men and mentors that stepped into my life, but it was still hard. It still hurt. And maybe those of you that are watching this, maybe you're growing up fatherless. Maybe you're growing up without a dad, without a mom. Maybe you live with your grandparents and both your parents are gone. Maybe you're an orphan. Maybe you're a foster kid. Whatever it is, I know those things hurt. Maybe you have both your parents. You feel like they don't care about you. That hurts. There's so many different levels of hurt that go on in our lives. There's so many different methods of hurt, so many ways that we can be hurt. And maybe you've been hurt today, and you feel hurt. I want to challenge you. Forgive those people. Forgive your parents. Forgive your siblings. Forgive your coworkers. Forgive all these people that have hurt you in your life in order for you to move on with your life. I had forgiven my dad a long time ago. I forgave him for what he did to me. I think I even wrote him a letter and told him I forgave him. But a few years ago, I felt like I needed to talk to him in person. And for my ministry, I was going to be out in Las Vegas and be doing some things out there, and I felt like I needed to go see him. Number one, I needed to go see him to make sure that he knew Christ as his Savior. And number two, I wanted to make sure he knew I forgave him for all that he had done. I mean, he lives a hard life out in Las Vegas. He struggles with many things, an alcoholic, all kinds of things in his life, just struggling. And I went and saw him one day at his place of work, and I said, you know, I forgive you. I made sure he says he's a Christian. He says he has accepted Christ as his personal Savior. I made sure of that. But the second part, I wanted him to know, hey, I forgive you. I forgive you for all of the things that you did to our family. For all of the stuff that happened, I forgive you. And it was freeing for me to do that, to forgive him. And it took me, I'm not bragging on myself, it took me a long time to get to this point in my life where I forgave him. When I was younger, and during several years of my life, I hated him. As a child, I hated him. And I wanted to go and I wanted to beat him up because he hurt my mom. And I wanted to go and put hurt on him. And later in life, as I realized how God forgave me through Christ, I can forgive others. And at this point, I was bigger than my dad. I could have taken my dad out if I wanted to. But I had to forgive him. I had to let go of any bitterness I had in my life. It's true forgiveness. And as I said earlier, I'm not bragging. It took me a long time to get to that point, and I want to challenge you to get to that point where you can forgive others, where you can let go of any bitterness. And for my dad, I believe that was a freeing moment for him, because I know he knew he messed up. Deep down inside, he knew he messed up. He knew he hurt our family. He knew he caused pain. He knew he did wrong. And I forgave him for it. Who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to forgive in your life? Are there ways that you could be avoiding forgiveness? Are there ways you could be avoiding having to ask for forgiveness all the time from people? Are there ways that you can stop that? Are there people that you need to seek forgiveness from? People maybe you've hurt, maybe you've done wrong to. Are there people you need to seek forgiveness from? Do it today. And lastly, are there people that you need to give forgiveness to? Are there people you need to give forgiveness to? I want to read this verse to you one more time. Read this verse to you one more time as we close. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. Let those things go. And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. God forgave you. You can forgive others. I challenge you to do that today. Go forgive people. Go seek forgiveness. Go work on avoiding having to even ask for forgiveness by loving others and being nice to others. You can do it today. Until next time, this is Sean Tice with practical advice for life. Have a great day.